Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can. Uh, so I'm just gonna do a low live again. No, excuse the background. Just kind of doing an impromptu live. I was kind of sitting here, just kind of scrolling through Facebook and scrolling through, Google and stuff like that, just looking up stuff. And I remembered that that there's been some new changes to the army that just really are being implemented or going to be implemented pretty soon. They should be implemented, I think, on the 24th. So one thing that we know, the only thing that's constant in this life is change, right? Like things are always changing, no matter what they are. I don't care if you're talking about family, a country, a business, or just yourself. Everything always changes. So a lot of people don't like change. A lot of people really will, kind of buck against it or speak out against it. But the fact is, change is always going to happen. So let's just talk about one of the major changes that's going to happen. I'm going to be looking down because I got my notes on my phone here. So like I said, this is kind of going to be kind of impromptu. So please, again, drop some comments in the comment section so I can see them. Talk back to me. I'll talk back to you as well. And so we know in 2020, COVID-19 pretty much brought it into the shark attack, something that anybody who's gone through Army basic training has kind of come to love. In hindsight, obviously didn't like it when you're going through it, but you end up liking it, or at least looking back on it fondly afterwards. Over 2021 begins another change, and so one of probably the most well-known regulations within the Army is AR 670-1. Essentially, that gives soldiers policy on how to wear uniform, on appearance, and everything in every single uniform as well, and where those appearances are allowed. And so we have another change. It's a pretty big change. So I'm just going to go through what's happening, and then give my thoughts on it, and then hopefully later on I can see your comments on what you think, or what you think about these changes. So number one, the changes in AR 670-1 will be taking place February 24th. So they'll be implemented later on this month. So they include one, implementation of the AGSU. So if you don't know what the AGSU is, that's the Army Green Service Uniform. So it's the new service uniform that was introduced, I believe, last year. So I think the first basic training soldiers or graduates wore them at forts. If I believe it was like Fort Leonard Wood, if I'm not mistaken, late last year, late 2020. And so those are kind of being slowly rolled out throughout the force. Um, and so they're popular in the fact that a lot of people like the way they look, but they're also, I guess, probably one of the most unpopular things about them is how much they cost. So they're pretty expensive. And it's an additional item that you now have to take care of after you're issued it or purchased it. This new AR 670-1 implements that into the Army. The next thing, which I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time speaking about because it doesn't pertain to me, but the policy clarifies or language about uh, breastfeeding and pumping while in your uniform. So I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar what the policy was before. But whatever it is, ladies will know. Whatever it is, it's changed, and I'm assuming it's changed to make it easier for ladies who are in uniform to do the things that they just naturally have to do if they're mothers. Um, and then lastly, not lastly, but another point is that the OCP pattern that you see the Army wear now, that's fully been transitioned into the Army. And any references to the UCP, so that was that grayish looking pattern that we had before the OCP pattern, that's completely phased out now. So you shouldn't see any soldiers, whether they be active Army, National Guard, or Army Reserves, wearing the UCP pattern any longer. Everyone should be at this point transitioned over to the OCP pattern. Now, for the biggest, I guess the biggest change in this policy is really going to affect the women. Um, because the army is looking at, really looking at inclusion and trying to listen to the force as a whole, hear the concerns of the soldiers, male and female, and really, it seems like create an environment that isn't dictated by just one section of the army, or by one particular population in the army. But it looks like they're really trying to create an environment where they're hearing the opinions and the thoughts of everyone else, right? Of everybody. So for the females, one change is that now female soldiers can wear they can wear earrings, they can wear lipstick, and they can wear nail polish while in the service uniform. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that you get to know that the ladies will be walking around with hot pink, or lightning blue, or neon green hair. Like, it still has to be professional. So extreme colors just are not going to fly. Same thing with the earrings. Again, it has to be professional size. So there won't be very large earrings, anything of that nature. So they have to be within the regulations. So the regulations kind of spell out the sizes that are permitted within the uniform. Same thing with the nail polish colors. Nail polish colors have to be, I believe the policy says something about neutral, or have to be professional color. Like, again, no bright colors, no neon colors, no colors that really just bring attention to itself. It has to be something that is seen as professional while you're in uniform. Now, you can wear, again, the earrings, you can wear the lipstick, you can wear the nail polish in your uniform. However, you cannot wear those when you go into field exercises or even combat related deployments. So ladies have that freedom. When they're not in the field, the females will have that freedom when they're not in combat related deployments. But once they get into those areas, in those environments, and it's kind of goes back to being business as usual. Another change is that there's no longer a minimum hair length for females, which is going to be a big change, right? Because there has traditionally been a hair length. So there's no longer a hair length requirement for females, and multiple hairstyles are allowed to be worn at the same time. The hairstyle can be put up into a ponytail if the texture of a female's hair is not does not allow them to create a bun. Then they are allowed to put their hair into a ponytail, and that's good for PT, and that's good for the service uniform. So when you're in your OCP, and it's also good with the combat helmet. So you can wear that with the combat helmet. So again, if the texture of the hair does not allow for a neat bun or for a bun, then a ponytail is acceptable starting February 24th. The regulation also removes potentially offensive language used to describe hairstyles. So, whether it be dreadlocks, or I think one of the names was mohawk, or things of that nature. So, names that are referred to hairstyles that culturally are fine, but maybe described by someone who doesn't wear those type of hairstyles, and there again the language comes off as offensive. That language is going to be removed, and they're going to implement, I guess, new language that's probably a little more generalist in its description, instead of specific. So those are the biggest changes in AR 670-1 as it relates to what females are able to do in the uniform, as well as the implementation of the Army Green Service Uniform, so the AGSU, and then the complete phase out of the UCP. So again, I know some people are going to see these changes and just kind of balk at them and say, "Oh, here we go again. Army's getting soft," or "Here we go again." When I was in the Army, everybody had to do the same thing, wear the same thing, this, that, and the third. Again, because people just don't like changes. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the first time that I see a female soldier walking around with the ponytail, it's definitely going to strike me in the sense that it's going to look different because I'm not used to seeing that at all. But when it's all said and done, again, the Army's intent um, is to be more inclusive, right? So long as the inclusion doesn't hinder readiness, so long as that inclusion doesn't hinder someone's ability to meet the physical demands, doesn't hinder someone's ability to represent the Army in the correct way, um, then I think this is where the Army is really looking to go. Saying, okay, we have our service is made up of people from different backgrounds, different cultures, um, and we need to be a service that creates an environment where people feel as though their voices are heard, where people feel as though that they are respected. And I think when you have a service made up, or when you have a service with that type of environment, it makes for a healthier service. Um, it kind of helps to cut back on some of the unhealthy things that we've seen, not just in the Army, but just in the military in general, whether it be things dealing with sexual harassment or sexual abuse, where's things dealing with any kind of like racial components, when it comes to, again, people, you know, standards not taking into consideration the fact that we are all not physically the same. When it comes to hair, again, it may be easier for for some ladies to put their hair in a bun than it is for others. Um, so I think that this is where the Army is going, for the no, pretty much for the future. Just kind of taking a more inclusive look at the force and how policies impact soldiers within the force. So let me know what you think. I love to see the comments. I know that some people are not going to like it, and then other people will like it. But for those of you who are looking at joining the Army, this is a change um, that will impact you specifically if you're coming in the summertime. You'll be coming into this as as the as the Army is embracing this new policy. So keep that stuff in mind. Again, hope you guys are good. Those of you on the East Coast, hope you guys are staying safe in the snow. I know, especially in the far Northeast, you guys are getting crushed up there. So hopefully you guys are staying safe out here in the snow. Hopefully everybody is staying safe out here in this COVID environment, wearing your mask when you need to, socially distancing when you need to, washing your hands, which should be elementary. It's a shame that it takes COVID to have to reinforce that, but hopefully you guys are doing what you got to do to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. God bless until we talk again. Take care.